the secret life of teenagers, hidden from families, and sometimes even friends. A time when emotions run high and promises are easily broken.
Me!
Sometimes passion can be a good thing, and sometimes passion can be a bad thing.
One horrific crime
Get off of me!
It's evident that she fought for her life to the last breath.
that shatters all
This
innocence
kind of injury is something personal.
Shut up!
Listen, Mike.
Okay.
and challenges families beyond reason.
They wanted justice done.
It sends a diligent detective to extreme lengths,
They wanted to find out where that bite mark was and who it was on.
unraveling a tangled web of deceit and betrayal,
Are they going to solve this thing? Who was involved? Here was a genuine mystery.
forcing police to find the physical evidence they need to put this killer away for good. Easton, Pennsylvania. Two young women spend the early hours of June 15th, 2000, searching for their friend Devon.
You know what? Let's just try the forks.
She hasn't been seen since the night before and hasn't been responding to their phone calls.
They were driving around looking for her since they had reported her missing. They were going out to all the places she usually hung out.
What is she doing here?
They finally find her car in the parking lot near the city canal.
Devon! Devon,
At first, they think Devon is sleeping,
what's your problem, man? Devon!
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 but that's the last thing Devon is doing.
Devon! Devon! Somebody help! Help!
Devon! Stop it!
No!
Stop it!
I remember getting a call that the coroner was down at the Canal Museum area, and they had a situation developing where a young girl's body was found in a vehicle.
Detective Barry Golozeski arrives on the scene and learns that the victim is 19-year-old Devon Guzman. Devon's roommate, 19-year-old Keary Rener, and friend Michelle Hetzel, also 19, try their best to describe Devon and the events of the last 24 hours.
And how long have you known her?
We've known her since high school.
She seemed like kind of the all-American teenager. She wasn't very much out of high school. Just a very happy-go-lucky girl. There's no reason to believe that she would get herself in the kind of trouble that would end up getting her killed.
We figured she might be here.
So she normally would come here alone at this time of it?
I don't
She
know.
was sort of a partier and always having a good time, so they were checking some of her favorite hangouts.
The detective observes Devon's friends closely.
Do you know if anyone that would want to hurt her?
No, I can't.
Do they know more than they're letting on? Examining Devon's body, the coroner makes a disturbing discovery.
There was a gaping 4-inch sharp force injury that was inflicted on her neck.
Other than some blood on the rear driver's door sill, the vehicle is remarkably clean and void of blood spatter. With such a violent injury inflicted on the victim, why is the car so tidy?
If a fatal injury like that had been inflicted inside a vehicle, there would have been tons of blood in the area. Obviously, there was none of that degree.
Investigators make another observation. The car mat on the passenger side is missing. The coroner continues his examination.
Once the jacket was removed, we could see a knife that was in the left hand.
A knife that potentially could have made the laceration on her throat, yet it was clean and devoid of blood. Even more confusing, Lysick also finds a syringe tucked into Devon's waistband. He now wonders, could her death be drug-related?
The needle, the tip of the syringe was actually broken off, so it wasn't actually a functioning syringe that if someone was doing narcotics, they would be able to use.
One theory starts to formulate.
It was pretty clear to the investigators that this body had been murdered someplace else and brought to this location.
The coroner notes other details that support this conclusion.
There was a linear pattern of dirt on the buttocks region extending up to the lower back. It appeared to be consistent with possibly coming in contact with the driver's side door.
Blood observations on Devon's sweatshirt are also revealing.
Miss Guzman had to have originally been lying on her back for a period of time with the blood pooling. When the body was then moved, the clots were adherent to the sweatshirt, again creating an inconsistent pattern with how the body was found lying in the vehicle.
Investigators make a final assessment.
This was a staged, organized crime scene.
Made to look like a drug-induced suicide.
It would be impossible for someone to inflict that kind of injury on themselves, quite frankly.
If the killer wanted police to believe Devon had killed herself in her own car, he or she failed.
It was very amateurish in the way it was done, and it did not lead police in a different direction.
But it does create more complications.
This is a secondary location.
One of the problems we have is there's always a lot less evidence than we would find if it was the primary location.
But there are some observations police make that have them wondering if the killer had any connection to the victim.
The victim was actually posed in a sort of a peaceful pose, a fetal position, and she had a jacket covering her like a blanket, like she was resting comfortably. And that's sort of a clue to us that, you know, this is somebody who actually cared about the victim.
But who? Which person in Devon's life would commit such a heinous crime against her?
It's not just a random thing when someone's neck is cut in this fashion.
An employee at a nearby factory tells the detective he noticed Devon's car in the lot when he went to work that morning at 3 a.m., suggesting that she was killed sometime before that hour. But that's all he saw, the car, not the killer.
The thought was that this was someone that she knew, some relationship, and that's where we were starting.
If police are correct, could Devon's two friends be guarding secrets about her lifestyle and relationships?
When police arrived, their vehicle was in fairly close proximity to the vehicle where the body of the victim was found.
Now considered part of the crime scene, Michelle's car is taken to the security of the police garage, and the two girls are asked to come down to the station for further questioning.
I need to talk to you.
What exactly happened the night before? Who would want Devon killed? Is it possible that this pretty teenager was less innocent in life than she appears to be in death? The Pennsylvania town of Easton is stunned by the brutal slaying of 19-year-old Devon Guzman, found dead in her car by two friends, her throat violently slashed.
What are you doing? Get off of me!
Evidence has led police to wonder if Devon knew her killer, and if her two friends could be guarding secrets about Devon's activities. Detective Golozeski starts with Michelle Hetzel.
Many times in homicides, it's someone usually you're close to. If it's some type of crime of passion.
He attempts to piece together exactly who Devon was with during her final hours.
Both ended up dropping out.
He learns that on June 14th, the night of the murder, Michelle and Devon got together.
Ladies done, or are you still feeding them?
We're done.
Anything else? No?
Thanks, George.
Okay.
So what's wrong? You just seem quiet.
Keary and I had another fight.
What? Really?
Golozeski learns of troubles between the victim and her roommate, Keary.
We had a lot of fights.
Devon went to Michelle basically to cool off and to just kind of escape.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because I feel like all I do is complain to you.
No. I want you to talk to me about this stuff.
She's getting really hard to live with.
I don't want to see you sad.
After cheering Devon up, Michelle tells Golozeski she went home to her husband, Brandon.
Thank you.
At 11:15 p.m., Michelle needed cheering up herself. Her husband was worried and called Devon asking her to come over.
Hey, Devon. It's Brandon. Michelle's really not feeling too good, and, you might be able to cheer her up.
The call basically was that Michelle was sick and he needed Devon down here, to help.
But by 1:30, 1:45, she hadn't showed up yet, so I started getting really worried. So she's not there.
What are you talking about?
I don't understand. If she left her house, where is she?
Well, she's not here.
Michelle Hetzel had called Keary up, and she said she never arrived, and she wanted to know why she hadn't shown up yet.
I thought maybe Keary wouldn't let her leave to come over to my house, and...
The detective wonders why Keary might have prevented Devon from going to see Michelle.
They started dating. Keary was just always jealous when she hung out with me.
Keary and Devon had met in high school. They became friends first, and it evolved into a romantic relationship.
I love you.
Dropping out.
The detective takes note when Michelle claims that Keary resented her friendship with Devon.
Nice. Guzman takes back the fire.
I can't do
Devon,
that. Oh!
Ow. What's your problem?
In addition, she says Keary's relationship with Devon sometimes became violent.
Keary's a really aggressive person.
She knew them to have all-out physical fights. Michelle's suggestion that the relationship between Keary and Devon was abusive is enough to send Golozeski to the apartment the two women shared.
Miss Rener was someone that we were looking at, and we had to examine all the information coming forth about their relationship.
Police obtain a search warrant for the lovers' apartment above the Mineral Springs Hotel.
The apartment was basically in shambles. There were things strewn about.
Signs of a struggle seem evident, as does a hasty attempt at a cleanup. Investigators wonder if they have discovered the primary crime scene.
We're looking for knives, blood, hair, literally any type of that physical evidence that we could use to establish that as a crime scene.
You gonna go start in the bathroom?
Okay.
Behind the shower curtain, forensic analyst Carol Rener finds something of interest.
Detective, you might want to come see this.
The victim's found in a car, and the only thing missing from the vehicle is the car mat, and that's in the shower at her apartment. It's a little strange.
Was Keary the killer? Was she attempting to wash evidence away?
Here we finally had a theory that made sense. Keary was an emotional person that was involved in a relationship with Devon. Keary was jealous. They had a history of getting emotional, getting violent.
Wow.
Police bring Keary in for questioning.
Can you tell me anything about that night?
We did get into a fight that night.
Hey.
Where were you?
Nowhere.
What do you mean nowhere? I tried paging you like 10 times.
We have to get into this right now.
Devon!
What?
Hi! Where were you? What is there not to talk about? I booked a day off for you!
I was with Michelle, okay? There.
What?
I was with Michelle.
And you don't want to be with me?
No, it's not that. I just wanted to see her today, okay? That's it. We really don't have to have a...
Listen, I'm talking to you! Push me!
During the interview, she was very forthright.
I'm trying to be honest with you. That's all I'm trying to do.
Keary admitted to me that, yeah, we had an argument, it was physical, and she really didn't sugarcoat anything.
As with all their fights, Keary says that the two kissed and made up.
Michelle called and...
The detective then learns from Keary that Devon did respond to Brandon and Michelle's call just after midnight.
Keary's insisting that, Devon left the apartment. The last place she knew her to be going was down to Michelle and Brandon's house.
See you soon, okay?
Keary tells us that's the last time she sees her. Then several hours later, she started getting these phone calls from Michelle and Brandon saying, where is she?
Keary, I'm not joking. Where is she?
What are you talking about?
She's not here yet. She was supposed
Why
to be
hasn't
here
she shown up here? What did you do with her? Told us that she was basically being accused of, keeping her from going down there.
The detective compares the stories he's heard so far. Michelle has told him that Devon never arrived at her house. But Keary insists it was Devon's intention to drive over to Michelle's. Goluszewski is still doubtful about Keary's credibility. He needs to learn more about her relationship with Devon. He turns to the victim's father, Rick Guzman, for answers. He learns that Devon's friendship with Michelle wasn't as innocent as Michelle has portrayed.
They got married.
Despite being married to Brandon, the detective learns Michelle was in love with Devon.
Turned out that just a few weeks before, they'd gone on a trip down to St. Croix and basically spent a week's vacation down there and had undergone a civil marriage ceremony.
They'd exchanged diamond rings and pledged never to separate. But when they came back to Easton, Devon changed her mind. She told her father she was going to end things with Michelle, and she planned to do it on June 14th, the night she was murdered. Did she go through with her plan? And if so, what was Michelle's reaction?
Why do you focus on your marriage and stop focusing on me?
She'd just gone through all this trouble and expense, taking her down to St. Croix and going through this ceremony, and they were supposed to come back and leave their respective partners and live together.
But that's not what appeared to have happened. Devon wasn't leaving Keary. Did Michelle feel so betrayed by Devon that she killed her in a violent rage? Or did Devon change her mind and follow through with her initial plan? Did she in fact tell Keary she was going to leave her for Michelle? Did this betrayal drive Keary to brutally murder her girlfriend?
Get off of me!
Two potential scenarios, two compelling motives for murder. Who can the detective believe? And based on what evidence?
Holding! Offensive foul.
Murder victim Devon Guzman was entangled in a heated love triangle with Keary, Rener, and Michelle Hetzel. Both women fought over her. But detectives learned that Devon and Michelle had a volatile relationship, resulting in the discovery of suspicious evidence. While Keary is the #1 suspect, new information has Goluszewski considering an additional suspect, Michelle Hetzel. Investigators intensify their search for witnesses who can provide more details about the two suspects.
I don't recognize her.
They find George Vine, the owner of the pizzeria the trio of girls frequented. He turns out to be more than an acquaintance.
We just like to party.
I think it was kind of a mutual friendship where he liked young girls, and this guy would supply them with alcohol and gave them a place to hang out and drink.
Hey, is there a party going on or what?
Vine admits he witnessed several fights between the women.
Did you do it for us, George? Or was this just for us?
But one from a few months earlier stood out.
Are you done?
Are you serious?
It began with Devon and Keary arguing.
Carrie.
Did you like that?
I touched Michelle's leg.
What did you say? Why don't you just drink your beer and try to have a good time?
I think it's
Like
time
the rest
to go.
of us?
I'm sorry, George. It's probably better this way, George.
But still going home together.
She's nuts.
Michelle was angry. How could Devon keep forgiving Keary so easily? More importantly, how could Devon keep choosing Keary over her?
She was jealous that Devon had this relationship with Keary, and she couldn't stand it.
You know, sometimes I just get so sick of Devon.
You guys need to work it out.
And I think it's kind of past that now. Sometimes I just want to kill her.
Well,
I think you could really help me out here.
He had been offered sex or money or both to kill Devon Guzman.
I can do anything you want.
why didn't you report this? Well, I didn't take her seriously. I mean, come on.
He didn't think anything of it. He didn't report it. He just thought it was one of those off-the-cuff remarks, but that certainly changed the direction the investigation was going, and in a hurry.
Obviously, that was very important information because it led us to believe that perhaps Miss Hetzel was involved in the murder of Devon.
And at least for now, pushing Carrie Rener lower on the suspect list. Goloszewski acts quickly to secure a search warrant for Michelle and Brandon's home.
We're worried about evidence being lost. We have to go and get as much as we can now before it's cleaned up or destroyed.
Because Devon's body had dirt on it, investigators start in the backyard. While they take soil samples to compare against the dirt on Devon's back, they know that getting DNA from the samples could prove challenging.
It's difficult to obtain a DNA profile from soil samples because there's a lot of microorganisms, bacteria that break down DNA, that actually chew it up and degrade the DNA profile.
They scour the backyard, looking for more evidence.
We're looking for, knives and edged weapons, blood, hairs, fibers, any property, that belonged to the victim, anything that sort of tied her to that scene and her demise.
Hair samples are taken from the dog cage and surrounding area. If any of it matches the hair found on Devon's body, it could prove she was killed here. Inside the house, Goloszewski and his team continue to comb every corner for evidence. What they find raises more questions. A pair of women's jeans soaking in the washing machine. In the pocket, a syringe cap. A match for the syringe found on Devon's body. In the garage, Goloszewski finds another attempt at a cleanup.
The pool covers were located inside the garage at the rear of the home. As we unfolded them, there was a lot of water coming off, like they had been heavily washed.
Has someone recently attempted to clean them?
As we sprayed it with the fluorescein and then illuminated it, we actually got a glowing image on the pool cover,
indicating the presence of blood. But that's not all the garage offers. Goloszewski finds more Caribbean photos of Devon and Michelle's wedding.
I found them on a shelf by the door, but they were torn in half, which is indicative of someone being very angry.
You have to understand that a criminal investigation is a puzzle. You put pieces together to get the whole picture.
Did Michelle murder Devon on her own? What about her husband, Brandon? Was he somehow involved in the murder? Goloszewski questions Joseph Welsh, who lives across the street. He tells the detective that on the night of June 14th, something unusual did happen.
He was able to tell us about a hearing a loud argument, which actually woke him up at about 12:30 at night.
Michelle! Hey, there are people trying to sleep, all right? Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Michelle!
And he looked out the window. He saw a silver car similar to the victim's and a woman who fit Devon's basic build and physical characteristics outside there, and Brandon and Michelle all there.
Why is it that you and Keary are always attached at the hip?
He's actually able to put her there by herself, which sort of puts a hole in Michelle's story.
Now Goloszewski knows Michelle lied. Devon did come over to the house that night. What else did she lie about? And what about Brandon? Where did he fit into the picture? Were the two involved in this together? Thinking the love triangle might have become a square, Goloszewski wants to learn more. He stakes out Michelle and Brandon's garbage. Could one or both of them be dumping evidence on the curb?
I would, sit down the street and he'd take the trash out on his way, and after he'd leave, I'd go up and grab the trash.
In the lab, Golozeski meticulously goes through the garbage with forensic expert Carol Rener.
Statement.
Inside the bag, he finds Brandon's credit card statement. It doesn't take the detective long to realize that the card has been maxed out on airline flights, Caribbean hotels, and a wedding ring for Devon.
There's Brandon Bloss's credit card statement.
It's clear proof that Michelle charged her entire lesbian wedding to her husband's credit card. Was Brandon jealous enough to want Devon dead so she wouldn't be a continuing threat to his marriage? At this point, Golozeski can't rule anybody out. Continuing with the trash, the detective finds a used bandage.
And a bloody bandage.
I was able to use what they call an alternative light source. It enables us to use a narrow band of light. And by using different barrier filters, we were able to highlight the fluorescent characteristics of the image that was on the bandage. I saw what looked like a bite mark on the bandage.
The detective wonders if this small wound is somehow related to the murder.
I knew Devon was involved in a violent struggle when she was killed.
Get off of me! What are you?
There was a chance that she could have bitten her attacker or attackers, and wanted to find out where that bite mark was and who it was on.
Get off of me!
Did Devon Guzman, in a fight for her life, bite Michelle or Brandon in self-defense? Could this bloody bandage be the critical break detectives have been waiting for? The murder of Devon Guzman left behind a messy web of jealousy and jilted lovers.
What are you doing?
The investigation is narrowing in on Devon's previous lover, Michelle Hetzel, and Michelle's husband, Brandon Bloss. Police have taken hair and blood samples from their home and found photos that tie Michelle to a fractured relationship with Devon. Their most compelling discovery is a bandage found in the garbage. Will it help them find Devon's killer? Golozeski takes the bandage to Dr. Dennis Easton, a forensic odontologist.
What do you think?
It's definitely a bite mark, definitely human.
The question is, who received it?
There were only two people living in the house, so it had to be Michelle or Brandon.
And I can compare that and make a...
Armed with Dr. Easton's report, Detective Golozeski can now take the next critical step.
That gave us the probable cause to get search warrants for both Brandon and Michelle, to photograph them for any injuries, and I also asked for fingerprints.
Standards were collected from Brandon and Michelle, blood standards as well as head hair standards.
Okay, Mr. Bloss, I'm going to need
I was able to check them for any injuries on their body, hoping to match up the wound with the bandage we had found in the trash.
I'm going to need a picture of that. Can you take the bandage off, please?
Sure.
Golozeski hits the jackpot.
I had an injury on Brandon's left arm, which to me looked consistent with that on the bandage, but obviously it was several days healed.
Detective Golozeski rushes the photographs to the forensic odontologist. The first step will be to compare photos of the wound to the bite marks on the bandage. But when he sees the picture, Dr. Easton is startled.
It was probably the biggest shock of my career, is sitting there and flipping through the pictures and realizing that I've seen this already.
Is this your suspect?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I've had a consultation with this gentleman.
What was the nature of the consultation?
A few days earlier, Brandon had shown up with his lawyer, asking if there was any way to identify who had bitten him.
This bite mark appeared to be fairly significant. It had broken the skin, and it had caused certainly some significant bruising. So certainly a viciousness there.
Well, that is a nasty bite.
Dr. Easton believes Brandon had burned the bite mark with a lighter. Was he trying to get rid of evidence that would link him to Devon's murder? From what police are gathering, Brandon certainly had a plausible motive to have committed the crime.
Devon was just an obstruction. This was his wife. He didn't want his wife messing around romantically with this girl. I mean, this was something in the past. It was supposed to stay in the past.
To learn more about Devon's killer, investigators looked to the autopsy for facts about how Devon died.
The reason I love physical evidence is, is because it just leads you in the right direction.
Key details are established. Counting 28 bruises on Devon's arms and legs, the coroner knows it was not an easy end.
There were injuries that were identified during the course of the forensic autopsy that were evident to a battle or struggle that took place, and they are described as battle and defense type wounds.
What are you doing? Get off of me!
It's evident that she fought for her life to the last breath.
The question is, with whom? Michelle or Brandon?
The cause of death occurred as a result of asphyxiation and sharp force injury to the neck. The force was so great, there was separation of the neck, causing a gaping wound.
She never had a chance.
Suggesting the killer was quite strong, and leading investigators to believe that Brandon, not Michelle, could be Devon's murderer. Investigators are convinced that if they can prove Devon bit Brandon, they can build a case asserting that she was involved in a violent struggle with him.
What are you doing? Get off of me!
A struggle to save her life. A process similar to fitting braces is used to make a cast of Devon's mouth.
Once the casts are produced, then what we want to do is fabricate overlays of them, a duplication of the biting surface of those teeth, the surfaces that probably caused the injury pattern. Once we produce the overlays, we then can compare the overlay to the injury pattern by laying the overlay on top of the injury pattern, the photographs, the one-to-one relationship, which is very important.
With the overlays made, the next step is to compare Devon's teeth to Brandon's wound. It's crucial that they line up perfectly. If Brandon managed to burn the bite mark enough, they won't match. And if that happens, Goloszewski has lost his most critical piece of evidence. Two of the latest suspects in the murder of Devon Guzman are married to each other. Forensic experts are analyzing hair, blood, and soil samples from the home of Brandon Bloss and Michelle Hetzel. But the most damning piece of evidence might turn out to be a bite mark on Brandon's arm. If it matches Devon's teeth, Detective Goloszewski will have enough cause to arrest him. The photos of Brandon's wound and Devon's teeth are carefully compared. They match.
I can confirm Ms. Guzman is your biter.
Thank you, doctor.
Was it her last act before being murdered?
It's very hard to explain. How do you have the victim's dentition on your arm other than that you are doing something to harm this victim and resulted in her struggling for her life?
But before Goloszewski makes any arrest based on this evidence, he has to eliminate the first suspect, Keary Rener. He must ensure that no jury will have a shadow of a doubt that Brandon, and not someone else, killed Devon. He starts with a review of the evidence collected at Keary and Devon's apartment.
When I tested the black mat, we swab a small portion of the stain and test that swab with our reagents. I tested both sides of the mat and I did not find any blood.
No, it's not blood.
Which is exactly what Keary had told police in her interviews.
When we asked her about the car mat, she goes, "Oh, we were camping the week before, and we spilled some pickled beet juice on it, and they were cleaning it by putting it in the shower." Not saying it couldn't happen, but at the time, it didn't sound like the most plausible answer. We had searched her apartment. They had a fight, but we couldn't find any evidence of arterial spurting, any type of crime scene cleanup, anything that would lead us to believe that the murder happened in her apartment.
I'm trying to be honest with you. That's all I'm trying to do.
Her story as to what transgressed that evening seemed to check out. Police started to believe that she probably was not in a position to carry out this homicide.
With Keary Rener eliminated, police feel confident that they can move forward and arrest both Michelle and Brandon. Police are convinced they worked as a team.
Brandon Bloss, you are under arrest on conspiracy to commit murder.
The physical evidence against Brandon is compelling because he has the bite mark. But it was Michelle's jeans that were soaking in the wash with an incriminating syringe cap in the pocket. And it was Michelle who initially solicited George Vine to commit murder.
Drinking, you're talking crazy.
No, I'm fine.
While police strongly suspect that of the two, Brandon was the actual killer, they don't have enough direct evidence to prove it. Goluszewski hopes his interrogation of Brandon Bloss will lead to more concrete answers. Brandon exercises his right to remain silent and only communicates through his lawyer.
It makes us a little curious. I mean, their friend had been killed, and, you know, if it's really that important to them, you know, you shouldn't be hiding behind a lawyer. You should be helping us catch whoever did it.
Brandon's side of the story implicates his wife, Michelle, in the murder. In his version, Devon arrived at his house just before 12:30 a.m.
She's my girlfriend.
I thought you were gonna leave her. She's not
He claims that Michelle and Devon got into a fight, and he tried to break it up, but Devon bit him. Brandon also claims that he told the two women to take it outside. Then he left to tend to his wound. The next time he saw them, they were in the backyard, and Devon was dead.
What have you done?
I did it for us.
While Brandon's story seems plausible, police believe he was sufficiently involved in the murder to continue to hold him. As they prepare to interview Michelle to see how she responds to Brandon's accusations, an unexpected witness steps forward.
Miss Judd here to see you?
Kara Judd was dating Brandon's sister. At a family get-together soon after Devon's murder, Michelle told Kara a story so disturbing she thought it couldn't be real, so she wrote it down in her diary.
Michelle actually made a comment to her, basically stating that, well, the police are so stupid, you know, they took my jeans, they're not going to be able to find any blood on them.
Like, I washed them. They're gonna find any blood on them. What? What are you talking about?
Basically went on to confess to her about killing Devon.
Michelle, what happened? There's just blood everywhere.
Michelle told Kara that when the fighting women took it outside, she picked up a knife on her way out. They argued, and the next thing Michelle knew, there was blood everywhere. That's when Brandon came looking for her.
She said she was just holding her and kissing her and saying that, you know, are you okay? Please be all right.
What have you done?
Maybe somebody just, you know, lost their temper and didn't, you know, was sorry for what happened.
It's just, I couldn't believe it, you know?
Despite her ties to Brandon's family, police believe Kara is telling the truth and consider her diary valid evidence.
It was very powerful because, you know, it's simultaneous notes that are being taken down on certain dates by the person who made the journal, and she's saying, here's what Michelle told me, and that night I wrote it in my journal.
How did she get in the car? Michelle?
But does this story make sense?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Why would Michelle incriminate herself?
Michelle!
With so many conflicting stories, only additional physical evidence can tell the police the killer's real identity. Goluszewski prepares to search the last piece of property on his list, Michelle's car. It's been sitting safely in the police garage since the murder. Will it offer any new answers? With the trunk finally open, police are shocked at what they discover. Police have arrested Brandon Bloss and his wife Michelle Hetzel for Devon Guzman's murder, despite having no clear indication which of the pair actually inflicted the fatal injury. But in the trunk of Michelle's car, they're about to finally find the smoking gun.
The car is immaculately clean, but when we're searching it, when the trunk gets opened up, there's a bag in there which winds up being a treasure trove for our investigation. The bag contained clothing which wound up having blood stains on it, and there were actually rubber gloves inside as well.
Forensic scientist Carol Rener looks for evidence that will connect to the victim, Devon Guzman.
I identified blood on the sweatshirt, t-shirt, jeans, socks, and sneakers. So at that point, I was able to link her blood to these clothes.
The bloody clothes and all the forensic evidence will be key to the prosecution.
I collected numerous chest hairs from inside the white t-shirt. I forwarded those to DNA, and the DNA section was able to identify those as Brendan Blows.
There's the blood of the victim on clothes in Hetzel's car, so that's really important evidence. The fact that they were Brandon's clothes obviously implicates him. The fact that they were in Michelle's vehicle, because Brandon and her had two vehicles they used separately, was very important as well.
The bite mark on Brandon's arm also points to him as Devon's killer.
This is someone who's struggling for her life probably and inflicts a bite mark in a position where, you know, they may have been holding her down and using the other hand to inflict a fatal injury.
But there are still questions about Michelle's role in the murder.
Hetzel could have used a knife just as well.
The evidence is analyzed, and it implicates them both.
The head hair standards collected from Brandon and Michelle were compared to hairs that were collected from Devon's car, and I identified one hair from the rear seat of Devon's car was a match to Brandon Blows. Also on the green jacket that was found on Devon's body, one of the head hairs I did identify as Michelle Hetzel's head hair.
Blood evidence also supports the theory that Devon was dragged from one location to another after she was murdered.
The socks and the sneakers had numerous contact stains. The fact that they're all contact stains and the location and the height being below knee level is a strong indication the blood source was at a point below that knee level, meaning that they could have been deposited by dragging someone that had blood on them.
The door.
The additional evidence connected to Michelle is also incriminating. Her jeans, the syringe cap in her pocket, her confession to Kara Judd.
We can't say for certain, but all the evidence together shows one thing, that they acted in concert to kill this young lady and dispose of her body.
Must be love that makes you crazy enough to think that, you know, killing somebody sounds like a good idea for your marriage.
The couple is charged together in the murder of Devon Guzman. Brandon Bloss and Michelle Hetzel were both found guilty of first-degree murder and are serving life sentences with no chance for parole. The DA credits the dogged work of Barry Golozeski and the forensic evidence he gathered.
The forensic evidence in this case was absolutely essential. We would not have been able to convict these perpetrators without both the dental evidence that we supplied to the jury, as well as the DNA blood evidence. Without that, we would have had no case.
But it was Devon herself who gave them what they needed in the end.
Although we don't have an eyewitness here, Devon Guzman, as her last act, gave us the evidence when she inflicted that bite mark. And that was certainly a powerful last statement. Although she can't speak today, she did speak volumes by what she did.